All right, welcome everybody to our healthy hangout. Uh-oh, am I getting feedback?
It might be us. Hold on.
No worries. Okay. Welcome. So I thought it'd be fun tonight to talk a little bit about how to make a decision. Because I think that a lot of us,
You don't know how to make a decision?
some people know how to make a decision, some people don't. Let's be honest, all right? And sometimes people put so much energy into not making decisions that they are wasting so much energy that they could put in other places in their life. Okay. So I'll give you an example. Sometimes we need to make decisions about like, where do we live, or where do we go to school, or whether to have kids, or whether to, where we go on vacation, or where to spend our time, or should we start a new business? Should we start a new health plan? There's so many different decisions to be made in life. And what we end up doing is sometimes we don't ever make a decision about some of these topics, and we just think about it.
And as we're getting started here, one of my favorite quotes about decision comes from Tony Robbins, and he says, when the measure of a decision is that new action is taken. If no new action is taken, then a decision has not been made.
So true.
Okay, how many times have we been like, oh yeah, I made that decision, and then you do nothing for like a week or 2 weeks or a year or whatever, and you're like, was it really a decision?
Or you make opposite choices that don't match up to your decision, right? Like, for example, a lot of us, this is a healthy hangout, right? And a lot of us in here we've decided that we want to be healthy. We have goals, we want to maybe lose weight, or we want to lower our cholesterol, or, all these things. And we say, yeah, I've decided I'm pick me, I'm a healthy person, I want to make those decisions to be healthy. And then all of a sudden, it's somebody's birthday, because it's always someone's birthday, right? Like on Facebook, how many birthdays per day, right? Like I have almost 5,000 friends, and it's like 50 birthdays per day. Okay. And it's like, oh, it's birthday, got to celebrate. Oh my gosh, there's cake and there's these things, and I got it. So we sometimes will make choices that don't support our decision to be healthy. And I want you to think about something in your life where you feel like it's a no-brainer, it's a for sure decision, it's like set in stone, nothing, it's not a wavering thing. I want you to think about something like that in your life. Okay. So I can think of a lot of things like that in my life, like my marriage. Okay. I don't need a cheat day for my marriage. I don't need like, oh, I'm so sick of you, Jared. I'm just gonna like, can I just go have an affair this weekend or something because you're just tired? I don't know. Right? No, I don't need a cheat day on my husband because I've made the decision that I want a thriving marriage that's going in the right direction. Okay. And it doesn't like, oh, we'll just see how it goes, or, what if I'm on vacation? No, that's just how it is.
For me, I made a decision a long time ago in my life that I am a non-smoker. Several times growing up, it's not really a thing anymore. Does anybody smoke anymore?
They do in beer.
They do. When I go to Vegas or something like that, there's smokers there. So some areas you go to and there's more smokers. But I've been offered to smoke throughout my life, and I'm like, oh, no thanks, I'm not a smoker. Mm-hmm. Did I feel bad about it? Was I afraid that I was going to offend someone? No, because I had made the decision that that was never going to happen.
And I like how you said that. I am a non-smoker. It's like very identity based. You are either a smoker or a non-smoker, right? It's like, it's one or the other. you ask for the smoking section or you don't. And so when we have like that level of decision in our life, then it's not hard. It's not like you're white knuckling it. I'm not white knuckling it to not smoke. I'm just not, because I'm a non-smoker, right? And when we have that level of decision with other things in our life, so now I want you to think of something that's like a harder thing, a harder decision. Something where you're not like gung-ho, this is how it is, I have decided. Okay, I want you to think of that. I'm trying to think of something. Okay, I know. I love to play volleyball, I play all the time. But if I'm gonna like work out like at the gym, which all the gyms are closed, but we have a home gym. If I'm gonna work out at the gym, sometimes I'm like, yeah, okay, I'm gonna work out, and then like I'll get busy with work, I'll get busy like doing the dishes or, pretty much with anything. And I'll be like, I just can't, I didn't make it, I didn't work out today.
Got too many other things to do.
Yeah, I just got too busy. I wasn't too busy for all the other things I did. But in my mind, I have not like decided that I am like a gym person, right? And so it's like a difficult decision for me of what I should do. Now, if it's volleyball, like I'm all in. I cancel everything else, right? I get my exercise. Don't worry about me, guys. My cardiovascular health is doing okay. But that's an example for me. I want to open it up to you guys. What's like an example of something that you feel like is not a firm decision that you have made, where you waffle or sometimes you struggle? I want to open it up to you guys. And maybe it has to do with health. Somebody come off mute and share. None of you guys are wafflers. Okay, go ahead, Melissa.
The decision of making a schedule. I have the all or nothing mentality, and I'm really trying to find that gray area in the middle that if I make a schedule, it can't change. And so trying to come up with time blocking and scheduling is a challenge for me.
Okay,
I know it will work to my benefit.
This is a good one. We do this all the time. Like even things that are really like beneficial for us, we're like kind of like, oh, I don't know, I can't make a decision because then I'm not going to have this freedom, right? If I make a schedule, then what happens if I don't stick to it? Then I'm a big failure. Our mind just like starts spinning in circles, right?
So when it comes to your time, what are you afraid of with your time? Because most of the time it goes back to a fear base. And it's one of three things. It's security, approval, or control.
Security and control, I think. Definitely control. Yeah, or maybe not even, being able to accomplish everything. I've got to do it all. Okay. You can't do it all, but you got to break it down into what's most important. But sometimes I think everything's important. So then I just
spinning your wheels, wasting energy, right?
Oh yes, yeah.
So here's something that this Stephen Covey principle that he says your life will completely change in relationship to time when you move from prioritizing your schedule to scheduling your priorities. Most people are in the business of prioritizing their schedule. We as human beings are really, 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 really good at adding things but we suck
Mhm.
at subtraction. Like, it is so important for us to assess and evaluate where our life is at, because sometimes we continue to do things because we've just always done them, and they're filling up our time. And we add something new and we don't subtract something that's not really taking us to where we want to be. Here's an interesting thought for you. If I had the ability to hand you an extra 50 hours per week, would you have a bunch of free time? Nope. I saw Laura shaking her head no. What would you do with it?
Probably squander it.
The same
I
dumb
would-
stuff we're doing now.
Yeah.
I would
Yeah.
probably do exactly what I do now. I would waste it properly.
Yes, yes, exactly.
Because we all do that, right?
We all do it. We're going to spend more time. You know that the average, I don't know what it is for Android. I need to look it up for Android, but just through AI and stuff, the average iPhone user touches their phone nearly 2,200 times per day.
That's a lot.
Right? And they, per month, iPhone users get sucked into repeated 2-hour blocks 76 times per month on social media. Okay, so I gotta find the statistics on Android, but it's gonna be exactly the same pretty much, right? So those numbers are crazy. How much time are we just spending scrolling through stupid news feeds and doing things that we're sucking our time away from us, where we could be making a decision that's moving us closer to what we want our life to actually look like?
Okay, so here's a question for you, because I get this a lot. Well, but I don't know what I don't know what I'm supposed to decide. Okay, or I need to think about it. Have you ever said that? Or what about this one? Let's just see what happens. All of these are ways that our brain wants us to just like not decide. But here's a secret, you guys. This is the secret. If you don't decide, you're deciding. You're deciding something by not deciding, because you are staying in your limbo. You are deciding to stay in your limbo rather than move forward in your life. Okay? So let's take, for example, deciding to put your health as a priority. Okay? Whether you are a client of Optavia right now or you are thinking about it, there could be some people on here who are just, potentially thinking about getting healthy. And some of us are clients already and coaches. So let's use that as an example. So here's some beliefs that make this making a decision scary. Okay? There's some beliefs that we hold as humans that we go, oh, I don't know, I don't want to make a decision. I want to think about it and I want to see what happens and I don't know, right? And these are some of the beliefs. The first belief is that there is a right and a wrong decision. And you better get it right or you must be bad. And failure is bad, and it's just safer to not decide because I'm just going to stay in my cave. There might be saber-toothed tigers out there where the decisions are.
There are.
There are.
We were talking about dinosaurs at dinner tonight.
Our kids and I were talking. Jared thinks that dinosaurs would be tasty, and I told him
I totally think
clearly
they should start a
does
Jurassic
not make
Park
sense.
just so that we have more meat on the
no. We don't eat dinosaurs. Okay, we digress. Okay, so the belief, there's a right and a wrong, and you better make the right decision, or it says something about you, and your ego can't handle it. Okay, and when really, what decisions are neutral. Okay, it's like either one is right. It doesn't make you like a bad person, or you can choose to be happy no matter which decision that you make. But staying in limbo, it's very difficult to find that happiness there. Okay, so let's say you're deciding whether or not you're going to become a client of Optavia. Okay, that's your decision you need to make. And you tell your future coach you need to think about it. And so what you want to do is, that's okay to think about it. I'm not saying you have to do something right now, but the trick is deciding, making a decision, and then actually moving forward with that decision. Okay, so if you say, I am going to become a client, and then what you do is you jump all in, you go all in, and you actually get on the webinars, and you actually call your coach, and you actually read your book, and you actually eat the proper vegetables and chicken and fuelings. That would be making a decision that would not be wasting energy.
It's funny to me. Decisions. One of my favorite decision-making examples from movies or books is Alice in Wonderland, right? So she comes to a fork in the road, and the Cheshire Cat's there, and she's like, "Which way should I go?" And the cat says, "Well, where do you want to get to?" And she's like, "I don't know." The cat says, "Well, then any road will do."
Mm-hmm.
I remember as a kid, I started hunting with my dad when I was really little. And we lived in Oregon. It was really hard to draw a tag in Eastern Oregon, which is more like Utah. But it was easy to draw in Western Oregon. So we're all down in the sloppy swamps of the Oregon coast and stuff. And he's like, we would come to trails where it splits all the time. And he's like, which way should we go? I'm like, I don't know. I'm 7, right? And he's like, well, let's go this way. And we would go 100 yards or maybe even a couple miles down this trail, and it would come to a dead end. I remember this one took us down in a ravine and stuff, and we're like, how are we going to get out of this thing? And we just made do. And we ended up actually having to go back. And I'm like, so we went the wrong way. And I remember my dad in this one situation saying, no, we didn't go the wrong way. We just found out that this trail ends. Really, really successful people become masters at making decisions. And then if they need to pivot, if it's not a path that's taking them where they want to go, they pivot and they find the right path. Or they make another decision to hop over on a parallel path or a perpendicular path.
And that's the other side of what I was going to finish earlier, is that if you decide, okay, I'm not going to move forward with Optavia and become a client, great. What are you going to do? Because your desire is to get healthy. So doing nothing and just doing what you're currently doing is not making a decision that's moving you towards what you want. So making like firm decisions and saying, I'm going to do this for 4 months. And then I'm going to reevaluate, to Jared's point. Something like that. That is like, that's a real decision. And so what about people say, well, I don't know what I want. Like, I don't know. I'm just
what do you guys think?
around.
Why do people say, I don't know?
Because they're the type of people who just go with the flow.
Okay. They're just seeing where their boat in the ocean, where it takes them.
I don't know anybody that's that go with the flow.
They could just be
Yeah,
scared to make a decision.
My ex-husband was going with the flow.
So Heather says they're afraid to make a decision, right? Because one's wrong, one's right. What's that going to say about me if I choose wrong? Okay.
Or what if I make this decision and fail?
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Because they're basing that decision on what's happened in the past.
Mm-hmm.
Over the weekend, if any of you guys were on the one of the public events, Dr. Anderson talked all weekend, but several times in 2 different public events, about stop living in the past. It doesn't exist anymore. You cannot change your past. Most of us are constantly living to try to change our past. We can't change our past, but we can determine our future by the decisions that we're making on a daily basis.
Yeah, So I would put forth to you that if you don't know what you want or you're having troubles, it's probably because you haven't made enough decisions. And when you make more decisions in your life and you go all in with those decisions, right? Because that's what a real decision is, to Jared's point earlier with the Tony Robbins quote, there's no new action, you haven't actually made a decision. Then that's where you start failing, but you're failing forward because you're making a decision, you're going all in, and you're going in a direction. And so this is what, here's just like some advice, if you want some advice. Take it with a grain of salt, right? If you want some advice, if you're like, I want to get better at making decisions, okay? And for example, let's say you're deciding to become a coach with Optavia. You're a current client and you're like, should I become a coach? Should I not become a coach? You know, so there's an example. I want you to make a list. I want you to make a list of the reasons why becoming a coach would be amazing and growth developing and good and bring goodness into your life. And then I want you to make a list of like the reasons that you would hold back from becoming a coach. Okay. So you're making 2 lists. And then what I want you to do is set a date by which you will decide. Okay. So you're going to say, I'm going to think about it. And thinking about it doesn't mean that you just put it on the back burner and go watch Netflix. Okay. Thinking about it means you talk to someone about it who knows things, like your coach, and that you're going to watch webinars, get information, and that you're going to read some frequently asked questions. And you know what I mean? Like, that's what think about it means. It doesn't mean you just like go on with your day for several days until someone calls you again and you go, oh, I forgot to think about it. Making a decision involves actual like moving forward. And then set a date by which you will decide. And on that date, you would either buy your coaching kit, or you would say, I am not going to revisit this for a certain amount of time, maybe for 3 months. Then I will revisit it again. Okay. So, and always asking why, like why you've made that decision. Are you basing this decision in your life on fear that you don't want to change the status quo because of fear and things holding you back? Or are you basing this decision based on what's going to bring goodness into your life and move you forward? And either decision can be right for you. And not basing like, oh no, I'm going to be this failure. We fail our way to learning so much in life.
So I want to ask you, give you guys a little poll question here, and just put it put your answer in the chat thread. I've got a little thought that could be somewhat controversial.
Oh boy.
Amber always likes when Jared gets controversial.
I start hitting his leg.
But it drastically pushes people outside of their comfort zone. Do you want to hear it or not? Just say yes or no.
Andrea even came off of camera and she said yes.
Okay. So I'm going to get religious on you here for a second.
You're going to wax religious.
I'm going to wax religious. And if you're not religious, we're not pushing religion on you or anything like that. But many people who are faith-based, we want to go and we want to pray about things and we go and ask God, right? We all have 3 voices that we listen to. Our own voice, God's voice, the universe's voice, the spirit, whatever you want to call it, and then the adversary or the devil or Satan or whatever language people use, okay? The most dominant voice in our lives is our own. I would challenge you. So many people have heard one of the 10 commandments is thou shalt not take the Lord thy God's name in vain. Most people, I don't believe, understand what that means. I believe that when we blame God and say, oh no, God doesn't want me to do that. Would God ever say, don't get healthy? Would God ever say, no, don't do this thing that's going to help create goodness in your family? I believe that God, the universe, is this source of goodness. And when we make decisions and we blame it on God, no, God told me not to do that, I believe that that is taking God's name in vain. We are saying that it was God's choice for us not to do it. And that is drama triangle, right? We're villainizing God and saying, well, God told me that I can't do this in my life. I've gone back and thought about those kinds of decisions that I've made in my life, and I chose not to do something, and I said God was the one that told me, and I asked myself this question: did you ever hear God tell you that when you weren't afraid of something? Never have I said it was God's decision for me not to do something when I was not afraid. If you are full of fear, I would challenge you, if you are a faith-based person, to ask your God or ask the universe, I want to do this because it's going to draw me closer to my desired outcome. It's going to take me down the path that I really want to go on. Please give me strength.
And I think that's true, whether you're talking about going back to school, or you're talking about, whether to go to counseling for your marriage, or whether you're talking about, you know what I mean? Like any of these things that are going to bring you goodness and move you forward. I think that's a really good point, Jared. Like, where are you coming from? And is that coming from fear? So good. Last few minutes. Does anyone have anything they want to say? Comments? Takeaways?
Hey, Amber.
Go ahead, Jen.
One of the things I was going to say when you were talking about people when they say, I don't know. I get that a lot as a therapist. People will be like, I don't know. My next question is usually, what if you did know? And they almost always stop and think about it. So most people, when they don't know, it's not about they don't really know. It's that I haven't put the time or effort into coming to my own answer. And that is actually creating a lot of havoc in people's lives, that they're making decisions or avoiding decisions, but they're not actually thinking about it.
Yeah, that's so good. And we probably stole that from you. we ask that all the time, like, well, what if you did know? One of our great mentors taught us that. She asked us that all the time, because I would always say, I don't know. That's like saying, hey, what's up? You don't care what's up. Like, hey, how are you doing? It's just a greeting. Most people don't care actually how you're doing, right? So when people respond that way and say, oh, I don't know, they do know deep down inside. Here's another question that you can ask, like, well, what is it that you don't want? I've never met someone who doesn't know what they don't want in their life. They know exactly what they don't want. When they tell you, start saying like, well, you know what? I don't want to be tired anymore. I don't want to feel sick all the time. I don't want to be fat. I don't want to lack confidence. Okay, is the exact opposite of that what you do want?
Yeah, that's a good point.
I don't want to be poor. Well, is the exact opposite of that what you want? Do you want to be rich? No, I don't want to be rich. I don't know why you wouldn't want to be rich.
No, it's a good point. So maybe we'll wrap up here. Take some time to just like think about the decisions that are rolling around in your head, right? whether it's something as simple as like whether you're going to plan a vacation next year, or whether your kids are going to do homeschool next year versus maybe go to school. There's just decisions, and when we don't make those decisions and move forward, we are wasting so much energy that we could be putting towards building the life of our dreams, literally. So thank you so much for joining us on the Healthy Hangout, you guys. It's been so fun. We love to hang out with you guys and just discuss our thoughts on our mind. So
okay, so next week we said that next week is our special healthy relationships night. So Jen and Matt looked at each other like,
what are they going to say? We're scared. We're so scared. So anyway, we'll put out some information about that, so we can really get the word out.
Yep.
You guys are awesome. And
Okay.
Anna, you came off mute. Do you have anything you want to add? Oh, you're still muted.
It's lovely to see you guys, the Smithsons. The Smithsons. It's really nice. I got your email, and it's like, I'm going to hop on there. Even if it's only for a couple minutes. So it's good to see you guys.
Good
It's
to see
nice that
you.
you're getting some sand time, right?
Yes.
Yes.
Getting a little bit of sun.
I stink right
Yeah.
now. I played volleyball right before this.
Yay.
Thanks, you guys.
You guys look great.
Thank
Have
you.
an awesome night.
You too.
Bye.